everyone. This is Carrie Ann with our Dress Hot Teen Talk. We are coming to you from all of our living rooms, and we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Megan Steer, and we're going to focus today on self-confidence, self-worth, self-beauty, and everything that we can help teens today to really build their self-esteem, which is very important for, in the society that we live in. So we're going to start with Miss Megan. So hello, Miss Megan. Thank you for coming to our Dress Hot Teen Talk today. So tell us a little bit about yourself as well as how you and I met.
Yeah, so like Carrie Ann said, I live in New York City. I'm a singer, actress, motivational speaker, half-time babysitter when I need to be. And yeah, so I met Carrie Ann like 3 years-ish, give or take, ago at a New York Fashion Week event. And kind of just, it was during a fitting, and she was zipping up dresses and people were throwing things. I was like, here, let me help. By the way, I also need to wear a dress. And we kind of just started talking about like what Dress Hot is and who Carrie Ann is. And I was like, yeah, I'm with you. I'm here for the, self-confidence and making clothes for women that are like real women. I'm here for that. So that's kind of how we started our relationship. You've been stuck with me ever since.
Yeah, there you go. So recently, you were in a Netflix movie, the half of it. So it is now out. So can you explain a little bit about your participation in that movie so all the girls can go on after we get off and look for that movie on Netflix to see you on the screen?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. We were actually filming this time a year ago, and we were filming in upstate New York, a very, very small role in it, but I got to spend like better part of a month filming this movie with the cast and the crew and the directors. And Alice Wu, she's the writer director, and she just like wrote this beautiful story about like love and what that means, not necessarily romantic love, but like what love is when, it's platonic and friendship and there's different types of love. I actually got to play one of like the high school mean girls, which was kind of fun. Like I said, very small part, but it was so much fun to get to be like on the set with everyone. And the mean girls, we were all blonde hair, blue eyed, girls walking down the hallway. But it was so wonderful to get to be surrounded by not just a talented cast, because the main cast, they are so talented and just blow my mind. Danielle, Leah, Alexis, Wolfgang, they're wonderful. Like them and themselves, they're this cute little friendship group and it's adorable. But then the crew that we got to work with, just like some of my best friends came from that crew and cast that we got to be with. So it was really cool to work on a show that also had like the lead is an Asian American lesbian girl, which you don't see a lot of in television and film. So it was really cool to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, I did watch it, and I was like, oh, look, there's my Megan. So it was pretty cool to see you on the screen. So that was awesome. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
So what we do in our Teen Talk is that we talk about things that we can do to help teens on a daily basis. And we've talked about, a couple weeks ago, we talked about suicide. We've talked about, touch base on self-esteem, isolation, depression. So we're going to talk a little bit about like self-confidence. And can you kind of based off of you being in the entertainment industry, what have you dealt with throughout your career or even growing up?
Yeah, so I should start off by saying I've been anywhere from a size 6 to a size 18 over the course of my adult life. So I've ranged in sizes, and when I went into college, I went to a performing arts school, and my ballet teacher, I got put in a ballet class that was a higher level than I thought I'd be in. And day one, my ballet teacher said, "You're never going to be on Broadway with arms looking like that." So my ballet teacher told me was because the way I looked, I would never make it. It didn't matter that I was good at what I was doing, that I needed to be, skinnier, more tone, more something other than what I was. And that really kind of triggered like a lot of just, I'm not worth it. I won't make it in this industry. I can't do it. And I'd say towards the end of my time in college, I personally really got into my own physical and mental health, meaning I am a huge, like, I love CrossFit, I love kickboxing, I love weightlifting. Like, I love working out. It's something that makes me happy. But I always had this idea of like having self confidence and loving myself. And everyone always told me, oh, you're so confident. But I really wasn't necessarily as confident as people thought I was for a long time, until I realized that like confidence comes from mental and physical health, whatever that means for you. That doesn't mean a size. That doesn't mean you can run 20 miles, because Lord knows I can hardly run a mile without dropping dead and just sobbing from running. Not my thing. You know, it means what is a physical and mentally healthy lifestyle for you. And that looks different for everyone. So once I figured that out, I was able to actually exude like real confidence. So I was able to walk into an audition room and be like, here I am, take me or leave me, I'm pretty great, you know, and have this inner confidence that, you know, yes, you have to physically look right for the role in this industry. And it can be really hard to say like, I'm a great actress or I'm a great singer, but you know, I'm not small enough, or I'm not tall enough, or I'm not XYZ enough. But, you know, finding that, you know, inner confidence to be able to bring that into the room makes a director think, you know, okay, maybe she's not perfect for this, but wow, she's got something. We'll bring her back for something else. So finding a way to rewire that you're not enough and make it, I'm just not the right puzzle piece here, you know, and reframing that thought that way.
So how was it, you know, like you said, you did range from a size 6 to an 18. So were you acting when you were a size 18 as well?
Yeah, so that happened actually in high school after I had a brain injury. I was in and out of the hospital, and my physical and mental health were not where I wanted them to be. I was not mentally healthy, and I was no longer dancing. I was no longer doing things I loved. So I was just like physically and mentally sad. And then I went to school, and I was a size 18, and it really wasn't an issue. I was making it into some of the best, you know, dance classes and some of the best opera labs. And the only people that seemed to have issues with it were other people. You know, I had to figure out like, why do they have an issue with what I look like, and why does it matter? Like, why does my outsides affect their life? You know? So I was in school at the time, so we weren't allowed to work professionally at school, but I was still achieving things and I was still doing things. And yes, I had some teachers that were like, you'll never play an ingenue, you'll never play a love interest because the way I looked. And, you know, it was kind of just like, well, who are you to say that someone who isn't a size X, Y, or Z can't be a love interest in real life? That's not how things are. So I really just had to like, I kind of pushed back a lot. My teachers didn't like that very much, because I'd say, you know, in real life, every size is a love interest and every size is an ingenue in their own story. So why does it matter in the entertainment industry?
So basically, what did you like? How, if you, with the girls that are watching and even the audience, how would you recommend them getting over and working on their self-confidence or their self-esteem to be able to, because everybody deals with something. So what would be your recommendations to, you know, help give guidance or give some advice to the girls?
This sounds cheesy, but it's something that I do almost every single day when I wake up. Is I find something that I like about myself physically, emotionally, and then mentally. So, you know, I'll wake up in the morning and be like, dang, my eyebrows look great today. And then I'll say something like, you know, you just finished a class online, go you. And, you know, I'll say, I'm going to make sure that I laugh at least twice today. So setting little goals within my own life that allows me to then like build on those every day. So if I tell myself every day, if I find something beautiful about myself, you know, by the end of a year, that's 365 things that are freaking beautiful about me, you know, and it really, it feels silly sometimes, and sometimes you're frustrated because, some mornings you wake up and you don't think you can see anything beautiful about yourself, but you can find something. I mean, I remember one day I was like, wow, my earlobes are really smooth. Like, that was the only thing I could find. But heck, my earlobes were really smooth that morning. So that's what I went with. And that's just like where to start, just finding little things, not just physically, but emotionally. I'm really good at making people laugh. I'm really smart in my math class. I'm really great at speaking, things like that. And being able to just kind of start piling them on top of each other until you've said more great things about yourself than you've said negative.
Have you ever come upon like rejection in your life, and how did you overcome that? And what advice would you give girls that, are going out for something and they get rejected, or if they're going to go ask a guy out, and they have that rejection? I see your eyes, Emma. She's like, oh gosh. So what do we do? Have you have any advice for the girls, and have you ever encountered that?
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting being in the entertainment industry because I think you face more rejection than most. I think in any job, you're going to face rejection from what you're doing, your coworkers, your people. But in this industry, I'll have 7 auditions in a day and be told no 7 times before 10 a.m., and be told I'm not good enough before 10 a.m. 7 times. And it's just hard to handle for anybody, let alone, me. But when it comes to, relationships and stuff, especially a teenager, I feel like, or a young adult, not even just a teen, like young 20s, anything, being rejected is the worst thing ever at that moment in time. It's like, oh my goodness, this person that I've liked so much for so long doesn't like me back that way. And, my best advice to anyone in that situation is, first of all, kudos to you for putting it out there, for saying, here's what I got to offer. I'm amazing. If you don't want it, that's your fault. But also understand that, like, it's back to the idea of a puzzle piece. I love using that frame of mind. It's like we're all different puzzle pieces and we all fit into the puzzle in a certain place. And, every puzzle piece fits in every place. So you can't tell every person that you like them and expect your puzzle piece to fit in their other, little holes, the way the puzzle piece works. So just, understand that you have a lot of attributes to bring to any table, and so do other people. So find people who balance you out with what you're good at and what you need help with, and vice versa.
Okay, no, that's because I think everybody goes through rejection. Let's just ask the girls here. Miss Emma, we'll start with you. Have you ever been rejected?
Yeah, a lot actually. I also used to be a dancer, and it was brutal sometimes, we would audition with choreographers to get into certain dances that they would make, and it was always a goal to get into that small group, to be seen other than in a large group. And for years, I was always rejected and being placed in it because, you know what, I didn't have the seniority. I was new to the studio. Maybe I was too tall, because I'm pretty tall. I didn't have enough skills to be in that dance because they were doing certain skills that I didn't get yet. So yeah, it was really tough mentally, physically, because I'd always just say, you got to work harder. You'll get it next year. You'll get it in a few months when they come back, Dealing with it is really hard. But yeah, you just gotta keep pushing yourself. If you really want it, you'll get it someday.
Okay. What about you, Bethany?
So I act as well. And I've had my fair share of rejection with things. I mainly do like stage acting, but I'm trying to transition over. But even at school, you'll go and audition. Like this past year, I went to go audition for a role for our fall play, and I blew the audition. It was terrible. I got rejected so hard, but I learned from it. I'll do better next year. And yeah, it was a good.
So you still survived though, right?
I did. I survived.
Okay. What about you, Kenzie?
Sorry, we're like redoing my kitchen, so there's a lot of noise, so that's why I'm like muting it. So sorry about that. I was like trying to think, and then Bethany gave me that idea. Yeah, for like the musical this year, I like auditioned. We were doing Big Fish, and I think it's like the strangest thing. Like my freshman year, I didn't get a call back. My sophomore year, I got a call back. Junior didn't. Senior, I got a call back. It was so weird. I don't know. Anyways, I like really wanted this witch part because we were doing Big Fish, and I like got caught up and everything and was good, but then I got like rejected because I messed up some of the words, but there was always a good turnout because I got to become one of the other witches of it. So there's always like a bright side to something bad that happened, in my opinion. I was like just trying to think, but like I like don't know if I've gotten like rejected a lot. That's like bad. I don't know. I probably have. I just don't remember because I just always try to think of the positive side. Like there's always something that will turn out, and like I shouldn't be so mad about it. Like I just know something better will be down the street. So.
Okay. And then Ms. Zoe, what about you as far as rejection?
I'm actually like the same way as Emma. I used to dance, and I was always in the lower classes. And I mean, eventually I worked my way up, but being like rejected from like the competition team or, you know, the more advanced classes, and it was hard, but you know, I was with like my best friends, so that made it better. And I just worked hard, and I eventually made it up to the higher classes. But yeah.
Okay, good examples there, ladies. Now, Megan, you also, when did you find pageantry in your life?
Yeah, so it's interesting. A lot of you had mentioned theater. I grew up in theater with a theater school. I was just on a national tour for Cinderella. Like, theater's my life. And when I was younger, I was just like, I'm going to be on Broadway. I'm going to be a star. I love this. But I was very much, and I still am, a tomboy. People used to think that I was my older brother's little brother. And I didn't like that so much. So at 9 years old, I got a letter in the mail that was like, come compete. At the time I lived in Ohio, come compete for Miss Ohio Princess, you know? And I begged my parents. I was like, I want to learn how to be a girl. I want to wear pretty dresses. I was all in. So my first year, there was 200 something girls competing. I show up, I'm wearing this bubblegum pink gown, pink glasses, who knows what. I do terrible. I don't win a single award. They give out like 50 something trophies. I don't win a single one other than the tiny little participation trophy. Pageant's over. I get in my car. I'm silent. And my mom thinks I'm just going to like have a meltdown. I go, Mom, I want to go back next year. This is the best thing ever. So I got hooked. I started competing. I competed up until I was 18 years old. I was Miss Ohio Teen, which was really cool. And then I took a break and thought I was kind of done. And then I found the Miss America organization. I had always been a fan, but they got rid of swimsuit. And I was like, all right, this is my time. Let's go. And I got involved in the Miss America organization. Last year was my first time competing, and I've kind of just gotten back into it. And, you know, when I stopped competing at 18, I never thought that in my 20s I'd still be doing pageants, but it turns out to be one of the most like rewarding, not only scholarship and winning things, because that's fun, but also the women that are in the organization are so uplifting and so proud of each other. Whenever one of us makes an achievement, it's like we've all made an achievement. And that's really hard to find, a group of women who support each other in such a unconditional way. So I've kind of just been hooked with the Miss America organization ever since I found that like the women in it are just kind of awesome.
Oh, well, last year you were Miss Greater New.
Yeah, last year I was Miss Greater New York, and now I'm Miss Broadway.
Okay. And then you just said before we got on that they extended the Miss America, so you won't be competing until next year.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Miss New York was supposed to be next week. Then it got pushed back to 4th of July, and due to COVID-19, it's now being pushed back even further so that we can celebrate the 100-year anniversary of Miss America. So I get to be Miss Broadway for a little bit longer.
There you go. There's always a benefit to the negative, right?
Yeah.
And Dressage did design your dress for last year, and we're designing your dress this year, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And the one last year, I mean, it went on Pageant Planet and it just blew up. Everybody was obsessed with it. I mean, I was obsessed with it, but still my favorite gown I've ever worn, literally ever. I love it so much.
Well, you did, you really rocked it. So you looked awesome in that dress. So what would you say to girls that would be thinking about going into pageantry? Because it's not just all about world peace, is that it's portrayed out there. What has it done for your life? Has it brought confidence? Has it brought, anything there that you may have been, struggling with? What has pageantry done for your life?
Yeah. So when I was younger, gosh, it did so when it's done different things for me, but I'll do when I was younger, when I was older. So when I was younger, 9, 10, 11, 12 through 18, it really taught me the ability to take rejection well and learn from it. Because I think that's the most important thing when something doesn't go your way, to learn from it. Because it took me 7 years before I won Miss Ohio, and in any age division, it took me 7 years. But every year I came back and I learned and I made friends. And the interview skills that I tell people, you put me in a room for interview for any job and I will walk out with a job in hand because of pageantry, giving me that, and the sisterhood. I know I talked about the women in the Miss America organization, but in pageants in general, I know I'm getting ready to be a bridesmaid in one of my friends that I've met through pageantry's wedding. I know at least 4 other women who will be my bridesmaids, and I'll be theirs when they get married someday, just that I've met through pageantry. So at a young age, it taught me the importance of supporting each other, and also being able to just exude self-confidence and being able to do interviews. But then as I got older, and I came back into it at 22 years old, I found that I really was having a hard time as an adult, kind of with the same things, but on a different level. Finding friends, being able to communicate. You think as you get older, that stuff gets easier, but it doesn't get any easier if you're not working on it. So getting in the organization at an older age has allowed me to, do all those things again and relearn skills and meet women and just get to be in an organization that's around volunteering and our communities. And I could just go on. It literally, I would not have the jobs I have, the career that I have, or the ambition that I have if it weren't for pageantry.
Okay. Have any of you guys been in pageants? No? Yeah. Okay. So what about the fear of failure? So basically in your industry, you really can't have the fear of failing, because then therefore you'll just pretty much be standing on the sideline watching everybody else be successful. So how did you master that? And then we'll ask the girls as far as, if they have a fear of failing.
Yeah, I think for me, again, back to high school theater, that is where I not only learned how to, take rejection well, but also take opportunities in stride. And I think for me, my junior year of high school, I went from being leading roles freshman and sophomore year to not even making it into the ensemble my junior year of high school, which was just crushing. It in high school, that's just the worst thing that could ever happen to me at that time. And I was so afraid. And then I had a brain injury, and then I was out of everything for a year. So I was so afraid to get back into the entertainment industry. I was so afraid that, if I went to audition for a musical, I wasn't going to make it, because now I have a brain injury and I didn't make it last time. And fortunately, I had my boyfriend and a group of really good friends in my family that were like, you just got to try. You just got to put your toe out there and see what happens. So I did, and I was told no a lot. And every time I was told no, again, I used it as a learning opportunity. So I didn't get it, but why didn't I get it? Or I didn't make it into the show, but why didn't I make it into the show? Sometimes it had nothing to do with my talent, and sometimes it did. Sometimes I had to work on my voice, work on my stage presence, and really find that, every time you walk into an audition room, or if it's not the entertainment industry, every time you walk into the lunchroom or a classroom or a new situation, looking around and being like, this could go really, really wrong, but it could also go really, really right. And outweighing those two things, because when it goes really, really right, it's amazing. And when it goes really wrong, you're just going to overcome it so that next time you can do something that goes really right.
No, and I think it's the same thing when I started my business, I got told no every time you go to the bank, and it was just like, no, 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 no. It was just, I'm like, you know what? No is like my Rocky Fire. Tell me no and I will prove you wrong, and that's where I've gotten in my career, and even, growing up, I don't like the word no. So I pretty much, my husband knows that no really doesn't go well, because if you tell me no, I'm going to figure out a way. If it takes me like 10 years, I'm going to figure out a way to prove you wrong, because that's just my motivation that, I take on. So Zoe, have you have like a fear of failure?
Yeah, I think I do have a fear. Oh my God, let me restart that. I have a fear of failure, but I think also when you have that fear, it just makes you work 10 times harder. So that pushes me to, work harder. And even if I do fail, I'm just going to get right back up. And I think that's hard, but I think it also, you learn a lesson, and you just get stronger from it.
Okay. What about you, Kenzie?
I hate the word no too. We're always like in school, if my teachers are like, no to this or no to that, I always like, this is so bad. I always find like a loophole or something. I just like push them, and I'm like, this is how I work. Like I know that this can happen and it'll be great and everything. And it does turn out great and everything. I just like, I do have fear, like when I get rejected, like I have like all this anxiety and stuff, and it makes me freak out a lot. But like, no is like a strong word, because it's like they're saying no, but you really, I don't know how to like explain it. It's like no, like someone saying no, you're like, are they really saying no? Like there's like, you can do better because of the word no. Do you understand what I mean? Your face is just like, what? I'm just trying to like.
Oh, leave it up to Kenzie to try to like describe something. You want the question again?
Yes, please. Okay, I just like the word no. It's just so powerful, and it just builds me up, because I know that I can work harder, I can work better. Like there's always something that comes out the best. So yeah.
There you go. Good job there.
Yeah.
Good job, Kenzie. And then what about you, Miss Bethany? Do you have a fear of failure?
Honestly, I don't really have a fear of it. I kind of look forward to failing, which is like weird, but I kind of like failing just so I can like learn to do better and understand like what went wrong, because I like analyzing stuff a lot. So like if I do something wrong, I like to kind of take a step back, go, okay, what did I do wrong? What can I fix? So I'm not really afraid of it. I kind of look forward to that growth.
Okay, that's a different answer there. Good job.
That's what I was trying to say.
Is that what you were trying to say?
Yes.
Okay,
that's what I was trying to say.
That's what Kenzie was saying.
Yeah.
Wavelength.
Okay, Miss Emma.
Well, if Bethany enjoys failure that much, I'm on the complete opposite spectrum. I absolutely fear failing. Like it's pretty ridiculous, actually. It got to a point where my mother actually wanted to take me to a hypnotist so I would stop feeling this anxiety of failing. it was like an everyday life for me, whether it was school or sports. I was just terrified to fail and do bad because I was, okay, for example, tennis. If I thought I wasn't going to win every single point in that tennis match, it wasn't worth it. I would find something terrible to say to myself every time that I lost a point. And it's 1 point out of 300 maybe. And I mean, I did grow from that. It's still a big problem for me, especially in school. I'm terrified of failing my test because I'm like, if I fail this test, I'm letting myself down. I'm letting my teachers down. I'm letting my mom down. My dad, colleges aren't going to want me because they're going to see my English test from 7th grade that I did not pass. And you know, that's literally what I thought. And I was like, you know what, Emma, it's okay. You're being too hard on yourself. You can't do that to yourself because it's just it makes you worse, honestly, having that big fear, because all you can think about is, I might fail this. But that's not what you should be focusing on. You should be saying, like, I can do this. I studied for this. If I do fail this, we're going to look at the test. We're going to see what we did wrong, and we're going to fix it for next time.
Right. I was watching last night at 1 o'clock in the morning because my sleep schedule's off, but the movie Cinderella with Hilary Duff in it. And whenever
That's
towards
a great
the end,
movie.
towards the end, I don't know, the guitar came off the wall and the wallpaper came off. And it said, don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. And that is so true. So don't let the fear of, failure or not doing well keep you from being in it, because you never know. You can come out, 10 times better than what you ever thought it was going to be. But I think that also goes back to, what is your self-worth? Because if you have that self-confidence and you have that self-worth and self-love, you're like, I'm going to basically try anything out that I can, because you know what? Life's about adventures. Life's about taking chances. Life's about, how I can push myself to be the best, right? And, you, Kenzie, you're going to college. So you've got a total different spectrum with Zoe, Emma, and Bethany are going to their, senior year, but you're going to a whole different new life and, having to make new friends. And, so you're, I'm sure there's probably anxiety there, but, how do you feel like you're going to try to overcome that?
Well, I just got an email from the Clarion, and they're not doing orientation anymore. They're a group orientation. They're just doing virtual orientation. So I'm just kind of very scared because well, I know where the business major is, the building is, and I know where the food hall is, or I don't know what it's called. Anyway, I'm just very scared about making friends because I'm a social butterfly, but I only have 2 friends so far that I know who's going to Clarion. I'm my roommate, she's super sweet, and then I've been talking to this kid, he's going to Clarion, so I have a familiar face I know. It's a different area, a different space. I just don't know how I'm gonna react because I've lived here in my township my whole life, and I just am moving, meeting new people, not gonna be living in my house. It's just weird to me, and I'll be fine, but that's just very scary for me.
Megan, do you have any advice for her, since you kind of talked a little bit about that with trying to find new friends and different dynamics with what you've gone through?
Yeah, don't do what I did. My first semester of college, I was just I just need to work all the time so that I can do well. I don't have time for friends. I don't have time for socializing. Bad idea. Yes, make schoolwork a priority, but also, especially if you're a social butterfly, go join clubs. Join, even if it looks like things might be virtual for a while. So even if you can't physically join a club, go join a club virtually. So you're on Zoom, seeing people, talking to people. Girl, you got this. It's scary, but it's also really exciting at the same time. So just grab it and go. And just don't do what I did.
I'm gonna do the marching band there, and they have like this like it's not called FBLA, but it's like called, it's like this competition thing that I've done in high school and I've gone to nationals for. And like, I like am excited. It's just like it's a new thing for me. So thank you.
There you go. Do you have any, well, we have Bethany, who's our TikTok queen. She loves TikTok. She is a TikTok phenomenal. So she's not shy at all. How many followers do you have now, Bethany?
Let me look. I have no idea.
I have 2. I think it's my little nephew and myself.
I have 241.3 thousand right now.
Girl, wait. I just got a TikTok. Let me tell you. I'm like that 20-something that pops in and I'm like, I was never going to get a TikTok, but now I have one.
Yeah.
There you go. So now Bethany, Megan can follow you, and I still don't know how to do it. You guys are all promised me when we get back to the real world that we're doing a TikTok in the shop.
Yeah. All I know is like, this is a move, and then like, this is a thing. That's like all I know.
So what's the, is it Savage? Savage.
That
dance.
one.
Classy,
That's kind of-
boozy.
Yeah, that's pretty
Butt roll
provocative.
I can't do the butt roll thing.
Hey, I got this one down. That one little and shake your booty. Yeah, that was real easy. There you go. You're all savages. So we're off track here. Back to it. So Miss Emma, she's Megan. She does very well with tennis. And could you give her any advice? She'll be going into her senior year school.
Yeah, so I didn't play tennis growing up, but I played softball for 9 years, and I know like that competitive sports world and how that can be.
Yeah.
So senior year, especially going into it as like an athlete, and again, we don't really know what it's going to look like this year, but I would just say like those practices that you don't want to be at, really take advantage of them, because once you can't be there, it sounds so cheesy, and you're like, of course, but honestly, once you can't do those really long practices that you don't want to be at anymore, it's like the worst. So just take advantage of them. And, do you do the pairs or however tennis works?
I'm singles, but I mean, I interact with all I basically call them my kids. They're my team, or I try to, do stuff with them all the time, stay in contact with them. Yeah, I miss them right now more than ever. Oh my gosh. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, make sure you're chatting it up with them. So you got it. Like, that would be my only advice, is just like, take advantage of that, because finding sports and like competitions in teams once you're out of high school gets a lot harder. So just like take advantage of it and enjoy it, because you've worked hard for it.
There you go, Miss Emma. Now, Miss Zoe likes to model and dress up and look good on the runway. So can you give her some advice? She's also going into her senior year, and she has modeled for me in some of my fashion shows. She was at New York Fashion Week as well. So can you give her some advice?
Yeah. First of all, go for you, because I cannot walk a runway. I clomp like that. I'm not good at it. There's a reason why people put me behind a podium. Don't walk there. Like, it's not my thing. So, I mean, good for you. You're already doing it. Just, like, live your best life. I know that should be on, like, a poster somewhere in an office in a elementary school. But, really just, take advantage of the fact that you have someone like Carrie Ann in your court, with you and supporting you, because I wish I was doing what you're doing when I was in high school. I wish I had the confidence to do what you're doing, like to just anybody. I think people who model and can do that kind of stuff, I'd be like, ugh. Like, I don't know how to do it. Here's my model look. I'm just really not, it's not my thing. So just keep crushing it and keep like never, what are the words I'm thinking of? When you meet people, you never know who they're going to be in 10 years or who you're going to be in 10 years. So never burn any bridges with anyone you meet, especially in that industry, because people remember, but just in general, never burn any bridges with anyone you meet.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to tell about self-confidence, self-love, self-worth, self-esteem to our audience to give them advice? And then we'll kind of close it up.
Yeah, I would say like the biggest thing is realize that even the most confident person has days where they're not confident in themselves or in a situation or in their skills. So, don't be looking at someone's social media and think, wow, they're so confident, because you don't know if they're having a bad day or a bad week, or maybe they aren't confident. So don't compare yourself to others' perceived confidence, because only you know how confident you are on the inside. So just take it, pull a little bow on it, and go along your day. Like, don't compare yourself to others and their confidence levels, because you're on your own journey. You're doing your own thing. Sounds cheesy, but like there's a reason people like cheese, just pile it on because it's good. So I like the cheesy.
And don't change for anybody.
Yes.
Be your true authentic, no matter if it means you don't get the gig, you don't get that guy, you don't get that scene in the movie, or you don't get part of your sorority that you may join. Kenzie, never change for anybody. Be your true authentic self, because that is the best person that is, should be out there. So, okay. And then make sure we want to thank Megan for coming on to our Teen Talk for this week, talking about self-esteem and self-confidence. I hope you guys enjoyed having Miss Megan on, and everybody's going to go watch on Netflix your movie again.
The
Megan. Half of it. So everyone's going to go Google that and, go check it out. I did watch it. It's pretty cool. Everybody can follow Miss Megan on her social media. And now that she has a TikTok, Bethany, make sure you hook up with her. Y'all be TikToking away all day. But again, this is Carrie Ann with Dress Hot TV, and we do appreciate everybody who has joined us as well as watched us. And remember to love yourself, be who you are, don't change for anybody. Everything about Dress Hot is about embracing your curves and embracing who you are as a person, because God made one of you, and that is the only person that you should be portraying. So we will be here next week with a fashion show for the girls. We're going to be wearing some fashions that will showing throughout the our virtual, and we're going to continue our Teen Talks until we get open back up. We get back in the studio and recording. So thank you again, Miss Megan, for taking the time to talk with us. Thank you, girls, for taking the time also, and we'll see you next week. Carrie Ann, out.